Hi, I'm Sashwati Sarkar, and you're watching The Times of India. In 2025, studying abroad is about much more than just picking a university. From emerging destinations like New Zealand and Ireland to test flexibility, post study work rights, and even inflation driven shifts in part time job markets, students today face a rapidly evolving global educational landscape. So, how do you choose the right country, course, and pathway in such a dynamic environment? To help us decode the latest trends and opportunities, I have with me today Piyush Kumar, Regional Director, South Asia, Canada, and Latin America at IDP Education India. With over 24 years of leadership experience, Piyush is part of IDP's global leadership team and has been instrumental in shaping the study abroad narrative for Indian students. A seasoned strategist and lifelong learner, he brings deep insights into student mobility, destination trends, and how global education is transforming for the next generation. Thanks a lot, Piyush, for joining us today and giving us your valuable time and sharing your uh, inputs that will, of course, unfold in this meaningful conversation. So, what are the three major trends that you are seeing in the study abroad space in 2025, be in preference of courses, destinations, or how students approach overseas education now vis-a-vis 5 years back?
Sure. So, if you compare it with 5 years back, I think the awareness level of Indian students is much, much more. Not only Indian students, but Indian parents. I think they are much more comfortable in sending their kids abroad for higher education. So, that is one thing which has definitely changed for the better compared to 5 years ago.
Right,
The
right,
second thing which I would say is that I think people realize that the world is changing very fast, and you can no longer actually rely on getting average degrees or average programs and hope to land up a good job or maybe start something on your own. It's very important to get absolutely the best possible education which gives you the best possible chance to succeed in today's world, simply because the everything is changing so fast because of advent of technology, and we have all heard about artificial intelligence, how it is changing the shape of the business. So it's very important for any student to be right on top of their game, and I think the students are very much aware of this. This is a new trend, I would say. Third is that if you talk about maybe a few years back, majorly students from Indian metro cities were the ones who used to go abroad, but we have seen this trend changing very, very clearly, and there is a large population of Indian students from tier 2, tier 3, even tier 4 towns, right, who are now looking at going abroad and studying in world class universities. So this is something which has been changing, and I think right now, if you see, students from every nook and corner of the country actually are interested in going abroad and attaining higher education. In terms of course choices, etc., I think more and more people want to do programs which are either related to STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and maths. But apart from that, other programs like, for example, a lot of health related programs, a lot of programs related to offshoots of, I would say, computer science, like, for example, cyber security or data science, etc., is something which people want to go for. So
right.
I think Indian students and parents want to actually look at programs which is going to set them up for success in future. And Indian students typically who go abroad are overwhelmingly they prefer programs which are related to STEM or are offshoot of STEM programs.
Right, right. So that preference hasn't changed. Like, STEM, like 5 years ago, also, students would opt more for science based programs rather than arts and other slightly offbeat courses, right?
The only difference would be that I think more and more people are going for programs which are related to computer science or offshoots of it,
Right.
right? So I think
Okay.
you will see a lot of students who earlier would have gone for core engineering programs, they also want to go for programs where they get uh, some kind of access to computer science related programs, right? So I think anything which has got to do with IT, etc., is becoming more and more popular. Even in core engineering fields, people want to look at programs which gives them access to, say, for example, uh, gives them some kind of education around robotics, maybe Internet of Things, those kind of things. So plain vanilla core engineering programs typically people are not interested in. And frankly speaking, even the universities are changing the curriculum and making those programs more and more tech oriented, which features the latest technology, etc. So this is something which
Oh.
I would say is changed.
So, Piyush, IDP has placed over 800,000 students globally. That's massive. Based on current student preferences, which of the six major study abroad destinations, Australia, UK, US, Canada, New Zealand, is seeing a faster growth among Indian students?
Yeah. So see this these
And why?
sure. So these six English speaking destinations, as we talk about, form the uh, bulk of Indian students, right? So almost like 80 to 85% of the Indian students who go abroad would go to one of these six. Now, out of these six, there are four countries which we term them as big four, which will be
Right,
the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia. And then there are two other countries, which is Ireland and New Zealand, which are relatively smaller in terms of their student intake capacity. Now, if you
right.
look at the six destinations, the interest level of students keeps on varying every year depending on the local policies of the government. So, for example, about maybe 7 8 years back, the US used to be the number one destination in terms of the number of Indian students going to study abroad, right? But then gradually Canada picked up, and Canada became, by far the most popular destination.
The
Uh,
hottest destination, so to speak. Yeah.
Absolutely. But now we see Canada's interest has kind of cooled down a bit because of the changes in the government policies. But for example, the UK continues to go very strong, especially after 2018-19, right? Australia continues to be pretty strong, although Australia is relatively smaller compared to a US or the
No,
UK or
but there
Canada.
have been some visa-related fee changes also in Australia, which is
Yes,
a
they have
cause of
been there,
concern among many.
but frankly, they have not really made too much of an impact. Now, what we need to
Oh,
understand is that Australia has 40 universities, right? The US has 4,000 educational institutions, right? Even the UK, Canada, etc., would have, more than 200 such universities, etc. So, or colleges. Australia only has 40 universities, right? But they are all world class universities. So Australia continues to remain a very very popular destination. Now, if you look at the other two, which is Ireland and New Zealand, Ireland, frankly speaking, is doing very very well. The student interest in Ireland is absolutely fantastic. Their policies are very student friendly, and we are seeing Ireland as a destination grow year on year at a healthy rate, right? So it is becoming very popular destination. New Zealand again is a small destination but very popular, for certain students. Their policies are also very good for students. It's a beautiful country, so there are students who want to go there. But just to give you some data points, Ireland or a New Zealand would take roughly around, say, between 5 to 10,000 students from India every year. Whereas if I
right.
talk about the US, UK, Canada, etc., they can easily take more than 100,000, or Canada in 2023 had taken more than 200,000, right? So that is the difference in capacity. It has got nothing to do with popularity only, but it definitely has to do with the capacity of the countries to absorb, Indian students. So I would say that all six are very very popular. Ireland, I would kind of point out that it has been growing every year, right, at a very constant rate. But again, I would say that Australia remains very popular. The UK remains very popular. Recently, because of certain policy uncertainties and changes, we have seen the interest in the US or
Shift.
Canada come down a bit. But again, as I told you, these things keep on varying, right, year on year. So it's not that any of these changes are permanent.
Right. Right. So, New Zealand is often underrated. What kind of students should seriously consider it, and what are the emerging sectors and institutions drawing Indian interest there? And also, in terms of government policies that you were talking about, it's a nice country. In terms of safety, in terms of policy,
Yeah,
what are the, if you could give some examples of some policies or safety measures
sure,
that
sure.
are actually retaining the interest of Indian
Sure.
students?
So, just wanted to bring certain facts. So, for example, when I told you New Zealand is a beautiful country, it's the number one ranked country for work-life balance, right? It has
Okay.
only 8 universities, right? It's a small country, only 8 universities, but all 8 of its universities rank among the top 2% universities in the world as per QS World University Ranking of 2025. Uh, it was also ranked as the fourth most peaceful country globally, right? According to 2024 Global Peace Index. So
Right.
it's a, in all sense, great country, beautiful country, fantastic work life balance, very peaceful, right? So these are some of the things which attract a lot of Indian students who go there. Now the government policies are also very friendly for uh, the students. For example, it offers up to 3 year post study work right, which is what any other country would offer. uh, Obviously depending on the level of study. And some of the popular courses where the students really want to choose New Zealand, one would be courses related to IT, courses related to environmental sciences, business programs. In fact, hospitality management is a very popular program. If you want to study
In New
hospitality.
Zealand specifically, in New
Yes,
Zealand, you're talking.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So these are some of the niche programs, I would say, which attracts students. And some of these, some of the institutions which are very popular includes famous universities like University of Auckland, University of Otago, University of Waikato, Massey University, Victoria University, University of Canterbury, Lincoln University, and also Auckland Institute of Technology, right? So they have got really good institutions and very good country, very peaceful country, beautiful country, some really good programs. So these are some of the things which attract students to New Zealand.
Okay. So, uh, Australia and New Zealand have emerged as strong alternatives in recent years. What are the key differences between these two countries in terms of course flexibility, part time work limits, and residency pathways?
Okay, so I would say not much difference. Both are, I mean, both are very good countries. If anyone from India, for example, or across the world, if you visit Australia or New Zealand, you would love the country. Both have their own strengths, and I would just maybe lay down some differences. For example, as I told you earlier, Australia has 40 universities, New Zealand has on 8 universities, because Australia is a much bigger country, right? In terms of part-time work opportunities, if you go to New Zealand as an international student, you can work up to 20 hours per week during your study period. And if you have study breaks, holiday breaks, etc., you can work full time. Uh, in Australia, the policy is 48 hours per fortnight, so which kind of translates on an average into 24 hours per week, but it is 48 hours per fortnight during the term time. And again, just like in New Zealand, unlimited hours during holiday breaks, etc. If you talk about post-study work rights, New Zealand, as I told earlier, gives you up to 3 years, again depending on the level of study. Australia, you can get it up to 6 years depending on the level of study and which location you are studying in. So if you're studying in the regional part of Australia, in university which is located in the regional area, there is a higher PSW which the government gives you, right? So Australian universities, as I said, their universities are absolute world class. They have a number of universities which are ranked in top 100. We all have heard about University of Melbourne, Australian National Universities, University of
Right.
Sydney, those kind of universities. So they are absolute world class, ranked in top 100. uh, New Zealand also, very very good universities. All 8 universities are among the top 2% in the world. So I would say that by and large, both are very very good countries for international education. Australia has a little more opportunity because it is a bigger country, bigger
Right.
economy, can absorb higher number of students. So that is the only difference I would say.
Okay, okay. Now moving on to Ireland again. Ireland often flies under the radar, but for students interested in tech, data science, or pharmaceuticals, does it offer better job market access and lower costs compared to more traditional countries like the US and or UK?
Yeah, that's a very good question because, as I told you, Ireland is one country which is becoming popular, year on year, right? So more and more students from India are choosing Ireland, and there are several reasons for it. You rightly said that it often flies under the radar because it's one of the smaller European countries, right? Compared
Right.
to big brothers like the UK or the US, obviously it cannot take students in such large numbers, right? But it has carved a niche for itself as one of Europe's fastest growing education institutions. Now, Ireland is known as the IT hub of Europe, right? You will see, uh, all the big IT companies being present in Ireland, and that is something which I think the Indian students, being really STEM focused, they really love that, and that also makes Ireland more popular. It has very strong tech related programs, data analytics programs, very strong pharma industry, right? So programs which are related to pharmacy or medicine, etc., is very very strong. I told you about how strong it is for tech. You have global tech giants like
Right.
Google, Meta, Apple, Microsoft. Everyone is present there, right? They give you post study work rights, which is up to 2 years. uh, and yes, there is cost advantage because you asked that question. So compared to the UK, the US, even Australia, it is lower cost, right?
If you
Lower
could give a
tuition cost,
rough
lower living
estimate of
cost.
the living cost in
Yes.
Ireland.
Yeah. So again, very strong industry tie-ups, etc. But again, as I said, it's a small country. It is attracting a large number of people. So the only thing which I would say a student needs to be aware of, that like many other countries across the globe, uh, the this country is also facing some kind of housing shortage. So the students need to really prepare in advance, so that if they are going to Ireland to study, they need to act fast and just tie up their housing needs, etc.
So, English language tests like IELTS or TOEFL are a key filter. Based on your experience, are universities moving towards text flexibility post COVID, or are we seeing stricter benchmarks again?
To my mind, I think we are seeing the pre-COVID stricter benchmarks coming back. So for example, during COVID time, when all the countries were closed, it was very
Mhm.
difficult for students to go to a test center to give exams, right? And at
Right.
that point in time, there were one or two tests which were like take at home test, and because they were the only test available, so a lot of universities actually started accepting it during COVID period. But many of them after COVID have reverted back to the traditional high stake English language tests like IELTS, right? So I would say that the universities and also the government is very very focused on ensuring that students who come to their countries, they have good
Mhm.
English speaking skills. And even for students, it is very I would say very critical,
Important.
because if as a student you're going to English speaking country, you need to have very good knowledge of English. Otherwise you'll not be able to do well in class, you'll not be able to understand what the professor is saying, you'll not be able to crack job interviews, you'll not be able to live and engage with the local people there. So it is in the interest of both the universities, the concerned governments, and the students, that the English language skills are really good, and that can only be tested through high skill English language tests like, for example, IELTS.
Right. So let's talk about part-time work. Are students still relying on it to survive, or is it that becoming tougher due to inflation and job competition? Which countries offer the best options for legal student employment while studying?
So part-time work, to my mind, has always been very important, especially for Indian students, right? For two reasons. Number one, I think Indian students obviously look for, a return on investment, and a lot of
Right.
them definitely see part-time work as an opportunity to earn some extra money, which could fund their tuition and living cost to some extent, right? Just to give you an
Mhm.
example, I told you that most of the countries allow you 20 hours per week, and just on an average, for example, and I'm just throwing a number, even if it is, say, you're getting about, say, $15 per hour, right? You
Mhm.
are earning almost like $300 per week, right? Which is like $1,200 in a month, which is more than
Right.
enough to take care of your living cost. So this is something which does attract Indian students, because a lot of Indian students, uh, you know, are either funded by their parents' savings, or they take bank loans, etc. So they would want to do something where they can take care of at least some part of the cost. So this is something which is very, very popular. The second thing is, I think getting part-time work is not a problem in almost every country, and we see, most of the Indian students, we are in touch with. Almost everyone has got good part-time jobs. Now, when you go to a country for the first time, it may take you 1 or 2 months to maybe find a job, and maybe you don't like your first job, so you'll keep on changing, etc. So it does take maybe 2, 3, 4 months, 5 months to settle down. But getting a part-time job so far has not been a challenge, and I think Indian students, if you actually travel, I do go to so many countries, I see so many Indian students who are working part time there, right? And I'll just give you a anecdote. So uh, I was in Canada, and at a restaurant having my dinner, and there was this girl who was some kind of supervisor, and came to me and just said that she had come to Canada through IDP, and
Oh,
she happened to recognize me, and it was so nice to meet her there, and she was absolutely doing her program, also earning money, etc. So these are some of the things which I think are very, very popular. And in terms of which countries, I would say by and large all countries give you at least 20 hours per week, right? Australia is
no, but
48 hours per week,
where is
4 days.
it? Where is it easier to get a part-time job? Which country? When I
I
say
think
which
I think
countries offer better?
I would say, by and large it's as easy uh, in almost every country, right? I mean, I would not say in any country it's very tough to get a part-time job, but yes, the bigger the economy, the better are the opportunities. That's what I will say, right? So if you are, if you've gone to countries where the economy is doing well, etc., it's easier. So I would say it is more dependent on the economic cycle the country is going through, right, rather than a particular country.
Okay, understood, understood. So, Piyush, Dubai is emerging fast with big universities setting up campuses, shorter course durations, and proximity to India. Is it truly becoming a mainstream study abroad hub, or is it still niche? What do you think?
As we speak, I would say it is still niche, but it is coming up very fast. It is becoming popular. More and more universities, foreign universities, have opened their campuses there, right? And I do see a lot of interest among even Indian students to go to Dubai. So I would say that right now it might be a niche country, but maybe 5 years down the line it would be, one of the more popular countries for studying abroad. That's what, I would guess.
Is there anything that you would like to highlight about Dubai, like some unique opportunities that they offer international students?
So first and foremost, two three things. Number one, especially for Indian students, it's very near to your home country, right? So Indian parents are very comfortable sending, their kids to Dubai, which is just maybe 2.5 hour or 3 hour flight away compared to,
Right.
other countries. Number one. Number two, as you know, 90% of Dubai's population is expat. So if you go to Dubai, you will see so many Indians, so you feel at home. If you're a student going to a new country, it's easier to settle down, right? So Indian students obviously love that. Third, the economy is doing very well, so the job opportunities, etc., I would say is not a problem, right? It's easier to get, uh, a visa to work or settle down in Dubai currently. So these are some of the things which I think is making Dubai very, very popular among Indian students.
Okay. So, Piyush, we don't talk enough about South Asia when it comes to studying abroad. But countries like Singapore, Malaysia, and even Bangladesh have been investing in quality higher education. Do you see Indian students warming up to these nearby destinations yet?
Yeah, I would say that, see, Singapore always has been a popular destination, but again, I think it's a very small country and with very few universities, etc. So I think it has been very popular for a small number of Indian students and parents. I think Malaysia is coming up because there are, again, just like Dubai, there are many foreign universities who have either opened a campus in Malaysia or are thinking about that. I think Indian students do go to Malaysia. Bangladesh, by and large, I would say there are Indian students who typically are interested in medicine, and a large number of Indian students go abroad to study medicine, and they go to countries like, say, for example, Bangladesh, Nepal, even China, and Eastern European countries, primarily for medical programs, medicine related programs. So I would say that, apart from medicine, I don't see Bangladesh being a very popular choice. But
Okay.
yes, Singapore and Malaysia uh, definitely are interesting, attractive. But again, as I said, both are smaller countries. The intake capacity would be very limited, right? Uh, so I would put them as a attractive niche countries.
Right. Now we are coming to the final question of this interview. For the class of 2025, what would be your top three pieces of advice for students before they shortlist a country or course? What should students absolutely not ignore in this hyper competitive global education space?
Okay, so I'll start with the second part of the question. What should students absolutely not ignore? The first and foremost advice I will give is that any student who is going abroad for higher education, they need to keep their focus on studies and not get involved in any other activities which is against the laws of the local country, right? This is something which the foreign governments are becoming very strict against. And in the US, for example, we have seen quite a few students from across the world have been deported
Right.
because they broke the local laws, right? So I would advise the students very seriously that if you're going to study in a foreign country, please ensure you follow all the local laws and all the regulations which are attached to your student visa. Okay, so that is number one. Number two, I think they need to choose their programs very carefully, because the world of business, the way the world works is changing very fast, especially
Mhm.
after the advent of AI in the last 1 or 2 years, and the pace of change will continue to be faster and faster as the years go ahead. So you need to get into those programs where you have access to these new technologies. So always remember this, that be it any field of business, any industry, any sector, it is not going to be untouched by AI and better technology. So your programs should give you an exposure to those things. So choose your programs carefully. Third, I would say is that, they should also choose their uh, destination countries carefully, depending on their financial situation, because different countries have different cost of living, cost of tuition, etc. So I think because Indian students typically would rely on bank loans or their parents savings, etc. So very important to look at your budget and choose the country and the institution also very wisely, where you do not get uh, too dependent on doing a part-time job, or your ROI doesn't work out. So these are some of the things I think they would need to be careful of.
Thank you, Piyush. Thanks again for sharing your valuable insights and giving us your time. And
Thank you.
I'm sure this interview will give a lot of insights, will offer a lot of insights to study abroad aspirants, not only from India, but also all across the world. Thank you, Piyush.
My pleasure. Thank you.